Today we're into Modern to turn a harmless little 2/4 into the scariest monsters in the format, which means it's drifted time. So here is our Vesuvan Drifter deck, and I gotta say, I love this deck. It's just so absurd and ridiculous and funny. So let's talk about what this deck's trying to do. Jump into a league, see it in action. So we're built around Vesuvan Drifter, a 3-mana 2/4 that has flying, lets us look at the top card of our library at any time, and at the beginning of each combat, we can reveal the top card of our library. If it's a creature, Vesuvan Drifter becomes a copy of that creature until end of turn. So why would we play a deck built around Vesuvan Drifter? And the answer is, if we get a little lucky, it can do some insanely powerful explosive things. So first, we really want to play Drifter on turn 2. We will mulligan pretty aggressively to find a Mana Dork plus Drifter in our opening hand. So we can turn 1 Mana Dork, turn 2 Drifter, and that gives us some chance, if we get lucky, to win the game on turn 3, with Drifter turning into a huge finisher. We have 4 Emrakul the Aeon Stored. We have 4 Ulamog the Infinite Gyres. If we have any of those on top of our deck, Drifter turns into one of those. We attack, we annihilate away all of our opponent's permanents, probably get a flawless victory. Atali Primal Storm is also kinda sweet. When it attacks, we get to cast the top card of each player's library for free. Atali Primal Conqueror doesn't work great with Drifter. I guess it's fine. It's still a 7/7, but it is an important part of our backup plan that we'll talk about in a minute. So mostly, once we play Drifter, we're just hoping to kind of get lucky and have something big on top of our deck. Although we do have 4 Jace the Mind Sculptor, specifically for its Brainstorm mode. We can pay 0 to draw 3 cards, put 2 back on the top of our library. So this is the way we can control what's on the top of our deck. So our actual nut draw is turn 1 Mana Dork, turn 2 Drifter, turn 3 Jace to Brainstorm, and put the Eldrazi or the Atali on top of our deck. We also got a couple of backup plans. Through the Breach just puts a creature from our hand into play with haste. Unexpected results. Who knows what happens when we cast it? We shuffle our library, reveal the top card, and we can cast it if it's a non-land card. So if we get lucky, it could be an Emrakul or an Ulamog or whatever. And this backup plan, especially through the Breach, is where Atali Primal Conqueror is actually really sweet. Plus, Atali is kind of castable. We have so many Mana Dorks, it's not completely unrealistic. We just get to 7 and hardcast it. But the idea is if we have an Atali in hand and we have a Through the Breach, we can do the Jace thing to like put an Emrakul on top of our deck, breach the Atali. The Atali is going to spin into the Emrakul because we know we just put it on the top of our deck. Then we get Emrakul's cast trigger. We get an extra turn. We annihilate our opponent. We win the game. The other thing that is important with Drifter is just being able to change the top card of our deck. So our fetch lands actually get some extra value. If we have a Drifter and we have nothing good on top of our deck, we can always crack a fetch to change the top card of our deck to search for the Emrakul or Ulamog or whatever. As far as the sideboard, Veil Summer Spellskite for protection, Fire Ice for removal, Haywire Might for the One Ring, Grafdigger's Cage for graveyard shenanigans, and that is Vesuvan Drifter for Modern. That's our Against the Odds deck for this week. So let's jump into a Modern League and see if we can take it, turn some Vesuvan Drifters, our harmless little 2/4, into Emrakuls, in Ulamogs, in Atalis, maybe as early as turn 3. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap-up. Need some Magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Against the Odds time, we are doing some drifting this week in Modern, and this hand does not have Drifter. So we will mulligan. Whew. Too expensive, mulligan. Well, okay. This one we'll keep. We'll put the Emrakul and Through the Breach to the bottom. Well, we got a plan. We need to draw land, but we have Birds of Paradise into Drifter. Opponent, delighted halfling. We even have the Jace. Like if we draw, Through the Breach. If we draw lands, this is kind of our ideal draw. If we don't draw lands, well, then we die mercifully quickly and move on. Opponent. You know what would be a blowout here is Bowmaster. Young Wolf, sure, that's not a Bowmaster. Bowmaster, that is a Bowmaster. Oh god. Okay. Well, now we may never cast another spell. All right, Triome. I mean, we're technically still kind of in this because of the power of Drifter. If we draw land, we live long enough, we get to play a Drifter and see if maybe perhaps we have an Emrakul on the top of our deck. Oh, Shieldred, oh god. Okay, so basically we have to draw land this turn, and maybe we have a shot. Well, that's a land, so we drop to 13. We play the Botanical Sanctum. Well, this is our last gasp effort at drifting to a victory here. Play the Drifter. Birds of Paradise, that's not helpful, but we're gonna get We're going to get one more shot at it, assuming Drifter lives. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're not dead. Actually, we might be dead. Because let's say we have an Emrakul on top of our deck. I think our opponent can sack stuff and survive and then still kill us. Oh, God. If this is Yogg. Yeah, all right, that'll do it. All right. So what do we want against Yogg? Fire Ice gives us removal. We can trim some of the tallies, and then Grafdigger's Cage does shut down the combo. Yeah, I guess we just try it like that. Yeah. We are on the play for game number 2. Okay, here's the draw. This is the draw we want. Turn 1 Mana Dork, turn 2 Drifter, pray real hard to the magic gods. Worst case, we do have the Jace, so we can use Jace to set up the top of our deck if we have to. But I mean, this is what we want to see. And our Mana Dork doesn't even die to Bowmaster, which is why Delighted Halfling is so good. I was going back and forth. So we got Delighted Halfling, we got the Noblest of Hierarchs, and then we got Birds of Paradise. Is it worth playing Gilded Goose over one of the Mana Dorks that dies to Renin 6 and also Bowmasters? I'm on the fence. I mean, I think Delighted Halfling's key. It would be nice if our other Mana Dorks didn't die, but Goose only makes mana every other turn. Opponent also on the Halfling plan. We're gonna do our thing. Botanical Sanctum. Let's do a little drifting. So what's on top of our deck right now doesn't matter because Drifter does not have haste. Although it matters a little because we have the Jace, but all right, always a Birds of Paradise. We will not turn our Drifter into a Birds of Paradise. Thank you very much, magic gods. We get a lot of shots at it next turn. So we get a fetch. So we get to see what's on top of our deck. We get a fetch land to shuffle and worst case Jace to Brainstorm. Okay, Wall of Roots, that doesn't kill Drifter. And Wall of Roots, okay. We get a shot at it. Can we find the payoff? Can we find the payoff on the top of our deck? So we untap, we draw the birds. Top card is Delighted Halfling. Okay. Scalding Tarn, crack it. Get a new card on the top of our deck, which is that's Emrakul. Okay, we will not play the Jace. We will go to combat. Vesuvan Drifter. Would you like to be an Emrakul? And yeah, we're gonna do a little annihilating here. Ooh, that's the turn 3 kill. That's the turn 3 Emrakul Drifter kill. Wow, that was some lucky shuffling. I mean, we do have a lot of big things in our deck, but there's only 4 Emrakul. Emrakul is the biggest and the baddest. So to spin exactly into that's pretty fortunate. All right, can we do it on the draw? That is the big question. So we can ramp into Jace. Jace is so sketchy against Bowmaster, though. Oh, this is much better. I think we just put Emrakul to the bottom because we would rather have that on the top of our deck. Sadly, we have a Mana Dork that dies to Bowmaster, which isn't ideal, but opponent does nothing. That's good. All right, Noble Hierarch. I know you like dying these days, but can you live for just 1 or 2 turns? Live long enough for us to Drifter and Jace, and then if you die, that's fine. Ooh, Wall of Roots. All right, not a Bowmaster. That does mean we get to play the Drifter. Ulamog. Well, I mean, worst case, we can Jace that to the top next turn. Well, we're going to do it. Run out the Drifter. Hope our opponent does not. Wow, another Ulamog. Ulamog's for days. We will not. There's no reason to really turn it into Ulamog here because then our opponent knows about it. Plus, it doesn't have haste, so it's going to go away end of turn. Veil of Summer just to draw a card. Sure. Well, basically, our opponent needs to kill the Drifter, or does Bowmasters do it? Kind of. If they Bowmasters and brainstorming with Jace is very painful. Although I guess they only get 3 damage, right? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what our opponent has. Forest for our opponent. And Grist. Ooh, that can kill the Drifter. Oh, they're gonna do it. All right. Okay. This isn't great. Oh, that makes things so much harder. So we can play the Jace, but I kind of feel like this Grist needs to die because this is just gonna, it'll tick up, then it can tick down and kill the Jace. Wow, this feels so bad to choose to do this, but yeah, I think we just have to attack the Grist and pass. Yeah, that's way better than Jace the Mind Sculptor. And Strangerogeist, yes. Richard would be pleased. And Zula Port Cutthroat. Well, I mean, I guess we can just fire them. Wow, they don't even attack. Well, okay. Scalding Tarn, grab a mountain. And yeah, the Strangleroot comes back, but I still think it's worth it. So we get to ping down the Cutthroat. We get to ping down the Strangleroot. Now what? These two Ulamogs are not looking great in hand. So Strangleroot comes back as a 3-2, which lines up pretty well with Jace. What do we draw? Grafdigger's Cage. Well, I mean, we're going to play the Jace because we're not doing anything else. The question is, what do we do with the Jace? We can Brainstorm, but then it dies for sure to Strangleroot. I guess we could tick up on our opponent. Then Jace dies to another Strangleroot, which isn't great, but if it does live, then we're kind of in good shape. Yeah, I think that's probably better. Let's tick up on our opponent. What do you got? Ooh, okay, that's a Bowmasters. Well, I'm glad we ticked up because Bowmasters is kind of a blowout. Bowmasters to the bottom. Well, let's see. Hopefully they don't have another hasty threat. If Jace lives and we get to Brainstorm, especially with that Bowmasters not being around, then I kind of like where we're at. Opponent, Yogg. All right, that is the best card in the deck that's named Yogg. Gets in at the Jace, sure. Are they going to kill our Noble Hierarch? They probably should. Well, I don't know. All right, opponent's not going to. I guess we can Brainstorm and see if we hit through the breach. If we hit through the breach, then we get to do a little annihilating. We could bounce Yogg, but that doesn't seem worth it. Yeah, let's get our Jace value. Come on through the breach. Well, we found another Drifter. Maybe we just put both Ulamogs back. That's going to set up the Drifter for next turn. They could maybe kill it with Yogg. Like, this does mean our opponent's going to get to do Yogg stuff, which is awkward, but we can play Delighted Halfling. I think we just Delighted Halfling Drifter Grafdigger's Cage, which at least minimizes Yogg, and hope our opponent can't kill the Drifter. If they can't kill the Drifter, we know it's going to turn into an Ulamog next turn. And Annihilator 4 should be enough. Your go, opponent. Can our Drifter survive for a single turn? And not going to reveal the Ulamog. We don't want our opponent to know about it. Although we might do it on our opponent's turn to have a better blocker. We'll see. Wall of Roots. 2 cards in hand, although a little deceptive because of Yogg. So opponent's gonna sack and put a counter on the Strangleroot Geist. I don't know about that. Like, it still goes away forever because of this Grafdigger's Cage. It should be hard for them to sack enough to kill the Drifter, right? That's four creatures? All right, sack Strangleroot, counter on the Drifter, sure. Opponent, Delighted Halfling, yes. Oh, Bowmasters. If they have a Bowmasters, that would actually do it. Counter on the Drifter, plays a land. Come on, no. Oh, passing? All right, we're going to turn this into an Ulamog now, just in case. Let's see if our opponent's slow rolling a Bowmasters. If not, we draw an Ulamog, but Ulamog number 2 is good enough. Do we want to Brainstorm first? Is there any way we can... we could bounce Yogg. Is there any way to play around a Bowmasters? Not really, right? If they have it, they just have it. We're just going to go to combat. We're going to turn this into an Ulamog. Opponent, wow, okay, no answer. Well, opponent, would you like to sack 4 permanents and take 8 to the face? Actually, 9 because of Exalted. And that's how you do some drifting. That's how you do some drifting. And our opponent scoops it up. And yeah, whew, that was not bad. Not bad at all. Time to mulligan. Oh god. That's a lot of Eldrazi that are never going to be cast. I guess we're going to 5. Yeah, that's little Emrakul heavy. Little tiny bit. Oh, if this was a green source, this hand would be good. I mean, we've won with 4 before, right? That's a thing that can happen. Land, Mana Dork. So our outs are what? Our outs are, I mean, this is all assuming our Mana Dorks live, but our outs are, we can draw a Drifter and get lucky. We can draw some lands in a big thing and through the breach. Honestly, we're in a pretty precarious position to start this one off, but we'll see. You never know with this deck. I mean, that's the power of the Drifter. The Drifter can win out of nowhere through anything. But if they kill our Mana Dorks, we're going to be very sad. Temple Garden, untapped. Delighted Halfling. Wait, is our opponent drifting? Is it the mirror? Are we in the Drifter mirror? Said no one ever. Well, that's a big thing, sorta. So land through the breach, flip into Emrakul. So I imagine our opponent's 4-color Omnath, probably. Okay. Ren Snipe our birds is pretty sad here. That is the problem with their Mana Dorks. Yeah, they're definitely 4-color Omnath or 5-color. Could be 5-color, but we don't want to discount that possibility. Gets a Stomping Grounds untapped. Oh no, don't kill. Okay, no, they're Delighted Halfling. I mean, this might be over pretty quick, honestly. Ulamog, yeah. All right, fair enough. I mean, sometimes we mull to 4 and it works. Sometimes we mull to 4 and we scoop on turn 3. So I guess Fire and Ice seems reasonable. Do we need... do we want to fight the One Ring? This is a One Ring deck. Let's just run it like that. That's fine. Fire and Ice is, call it good enough. This is much better. We can keep this. I mean, this is... So no drifting, but this is potentially a very fast Emrakul. If we draw land, this is just turn 3 Breach Emrakul, GG. But I mean, assuming our Mana Dorks live, our opponent could snipe our Mana Dorks. Although we have the less snipeable Mana Dorks and Halflings. About it. Yeah, just kidding. All right, Prismatic Ending, don't care which one we have. Oh, just kidding. Maybe this is a Drifter hand. I was thinking this was a Breach hand, but maybe this is actually a Drifter hand. Well, now we're fine with drawing lands, or I guess mostly lands. Ren. Well, at least Ren doesn't get got by... doesn't get our Delighted Halfling. Stomping Grounds. Well, let's do a little drifting, see if it lives. Now it's up to the Magic God. So actually, we would like to see a land on the top of our deck. If we see a land on the top of our deck, this is a Drifter hand and a Breach hand. All right, that's a land. Okay, well now we're actually in kind of a good position. So opponent is probably going to be scared of... okay, definitely going to be scared of Drifter. I mean, Drifter's one of those cards. If you see it, you got to assume, since no one plays it, you got to assume someone's doing something scary with it. You got to assume the worst. Kind of like Morph, the fear of the unknown, where like everyone kills the Morph because it could be anything. It could be something really good, even though it's always actually just Willbender. But I think Drifter's the same way. It could be anything on the top of the deck. Like, sure, it's probably a land or a Birds of Paradise, but it could be something scary. Well, the good news is I think we just win here. I guess our opponent could have Force and Negation, but if our opponent doesn't have Force and Negation, I guess they could also have another Solitude. I'm actually kind of glad they sniped our Solitude, though, because that means it's less likely to be there to get our Emrakul. Emrakul? Combat Haste? Wow. GG! Sack all. I mean, not the Drifter win, but we're not above doing that. We will accept the Breach Emrakul win. Yeah, Emrakul's still good, even in 2023. Can we do it with our opponent on the play? I don't think we really change anything. We're on the draw. One land's a little scary, but we have Mana Dork Drifter. If we just go land, this hand is actually kind of the nut draw. Well, that is a land. I mean, now this hand's great. We get Halfling into Drifter, and we still have Through the Breach Ulamog, and we have Jace to set up the Drifter. I guess we still want one more land, assuming our Mana Dorks live. About it. Land, cracks it. One of the scary things about this deck is that Solitude does get all of our big payoffs. I guess against Solitude, it might be like a tally that's actually our best payoff. Are we just assembling Tron? Halfling Tron might actually be better than running out Drifter here. Halfling Tron turns on the possibility, all kinds of possibilities. Like 3 Halflings means next turn, if we draw land, we can Breach Ulamog. If we don't draw land, we can Uncounterable Jace. And we still have the option to run out a Drifter if we want to. And we even get to nug the Ren for one. Ren, I don't know. We're probably not going to kill it anytime soon, but keeping it from ultimating does have value. Well, all right. Halfling, hit the Ren. All right, gets back the land. Sure. Plays it. So Breach Ulamog is the GG play. The problem is Solitude beats that pretty hard, and our opponent could have a counter. We could pass and try to Breach end step. Maybe we just Jace. Hitting our land drops would be nice. And Jace is not getting countered, at least, thanks to the power of the Halfling. Still looking wide. I don't know what's going on with this Jace art. All right, back to normal. Brainstorm. Well, that's awkward. This is a very powerful hand, but we're a little short on lands. We were really hoping to hit a land here. Tulamogs to the top. Actually, I don't even know. A tally? It doesn't really... I guess it doesn't really matter. Let's hit the Ren. About it. Yeah, we really would have liked to hit a land there. About it. Untaps. All right, well, this is going to be interesting. Our hand is ridiculously busted, but I don't know if we can cast it. Found it. Land. Oh, come on, not Omnath. Okay, One Ring. Well, I mean, I'm never going to cheer for the One Ring, but this does mean our opponent's tapped out. So we can Breach. So probably what we probably got to go for, right? I think what we do is we can brainstorm with Jace, breach a tally, and then set up what we hit. All right, Jace, brainstorm. Mana Dorks and Ulamog. Still no lands. I mean, we definitely want to hit Ulamog. Maybe we just go Ulamog. Yeah. And then, I mean, they could have Force of Negation, but I think we have to go for this. The nice thing about breaching a tally is even if they have Solitude, we're still going to get the Ulamog and maybe something off our opponent's deck. All right, so breach. Tally, triggers, Lightning Bolt, and Ulamog. Well, bolt the red. Ulamog. Get rid of the One Ring? Nah, let's get rid of the One Ring. Opponent's gonna draw. Wait. Oh, Ulamog doesn't exile. Oh, I thought they both exiled. Oh, old Ulamog destroys. Okay, that's a lot worse. Well, I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world, but we should have taken out a land. So we can't hit our opponent, so we get rid of the red. Yeah, that is awkward. Oh, I guess that's why you read your Magic cards. I don't know why I thought that Ulamog just exiled. Okay, well, you can give me the punts in the comments. That's fine. Give me the punts. The One Ring, taking up and doing One Ring things. I mean, this was part of the plan. We wanted the One Ring to stick around, so our opponent would take more damage, right? Like that's the best way to play against the One Ring. You just want your opponent to activate it a ton of times, so then the burden counters get them. That's the technique, right? That's how you play against this card. Cracks a land. Up to 5 mana. Despite that, we are still untapping with an Ulamog, and we still have the ability to breach another Ulamog. So we're not in a horrible spot because we do have an Eldrazi on the battlefield. I mean, I guess that's the upside of Jace sticking. Like if Jace actually just sticks on the battlefield and your opponent doesn't have Orcish Bowmasters, it is really strong. All right, so we draw an Ulamog. Well, let's brainstorm. Will we ever hit a land? We know that oh my god, still no lands. Okay. If we wanted to be really greedy, we could put Ulamog on the top of our deck and try to breach a tally and spin into it and blow up the One Ring with the cast trigger, obviously. 5 mana, though, makes me think Solitude is likely. I think what we want to do is go to combat because we have Ulamog on the battlefield. Our opponent's going to be incentivized. We really need to annihilate this turn. Our opponent's going to have to Solitude the existing Ulamog before we attract and annihilate them. So they're going to Solitude, and then after they Solitude, then we breach the second Ulamog. I think that's the plan. I really wish we had hit a land and we could start playing some of these Mana Dorks, but well, I think that's the idea. So stop set at the beginning of combat. Go to combat. I mean, if our opponent doesn't have Solitude, then we just win anyway and we're happy. So that is also fine if they don't have it. Here comes the Solitude. Sure. Joke's on you, opponent, because we have another Ulamog. We also get to gain a ton of life, up to 34. Well, okay, before combat happens, through the breach for an Ulamog. This one is going to attack. So we could have done the tally thing, but I think annihilating here is better than tallying and putting an Ulamog into play. Like, we want our opponent down permanence. So I'm going to draw with the ring again. I guess we're giving our opponent a way out from under the ring. They're probably going to sack it. They got to keep the Solitude probably to attack the Jace because they don't know we just have another one. So I guess it's Ring Wrenn 2 lands. I mean, that's pretty good. Although hilariously, even after we annihilate our opponent, they're still technically going to have more lands than us because we've just not drawn any lands. What a weird game. Game 1 and 2 of this match, we're over instantly. In game 1, we mulled to 4, didn't do anything. Game over on turn 3. Game 2, we had the nut draw. We went on turn 3. This reminds me of the Pro Tour. This is exactly what I remember from watching the last Pro Tour. Either you have these really super interesting, long, crazy games, which I think is what we're seeing now. Ooh, all right, this is actually kind of good. So Ulamog's gonna shuffle, which means we might hit lands. But yeah, I think Modern right now, you either have these nut draw games where someone just like absolutely face rolls, as Krim would say, one person. You just face roll your opponent and it's over on like turn 3 or turn 4. If that doesn't happen though, and you have to play a real game of Magic, the games are incredibly interesting. And I think that's where we're at now, like 2 face roll games in opposite directions. And now we're in this really long there's a land, really long, interesting battle. Well, let's play the mountain. So we still could drift, but maybe we just Jace double Mana Dork? Hilariously, we've just drawn so many Mana Dorks it's not completely unrealistic that we start casting some of our finishers. Let's take up the Jace. See what's on top of our deck. It's another Jace. I actually think we keep that. Jace is just so good in this matchup and so uncounterable. So run out of birds, run out a Noblest of Hierarchs. 3 lands, but technically 8 mana. We're getting there. Hardcast Emrakul was not a thing I thought this deck could do. Or Leyline Binding for the Jace. Okay, I'm glad we kept that other Jace on top. Well, I mean, at some point, I don't know. This might be slipping away. Opponent drew a lot of cards with the One Ring. We did annihilate them, so we're ahead on board, technically, but our opponent's way ahead in cards. Opponent. And opponent still, like, has enough mana to function. It's not like we annihilated them so hard that they can't do anything. Teferi. Okay, what's that doing? Taking up. Sure. They probably want to start attacking with Solitude to gain some life. Yup. Well, we know we're drawing a Jace, which I think we will play uncounterably. Be able to attack Teferi at least a little. All right, why Jace is back? Yeah, let's just brainstorm this time. See if we can refuel 2 lands. Well, a fetch land's not bad. So put back the fast land, put back the birds. Crack the fetch, shuffle that away. Get a forest and just run out Drifter? Is there any reason to breach the Drifter next turn? Probably not. We could breach it on our opponent's end step and then try to like Jace into something. Seems risky though. There's the Drifter. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's actually really sweet. All right, so that's an Itali that we can actually just hardcast, and as long as nothing goes wrong, we can just hardcast a Tally. We hit Teferi down to 3. Opponent can still use it, but if they do bounce with it, they lose it, which is good. Opponent. All right, cashes into Teferi. Yeah, this is kind of bad. Picks up Leyline Binding. So we lose our Jaces. We have to Legend roll. Then they can Leyline Binding. I mean, we could also just draw into something big on the top of our deck for the Drifter. What a weird game of Modern. Okay, Beseju, sure. The scary thing is our opponent eventually is going to find more One Rings and just draw a ton of cards. I guess I got to be a little careful because they're at 8. They're also leaving up an amount of mana that makes me think Solitude again. All right, well, nothing on top, but we do get to change our top card. Well, that's a Tally. Spin it to win it, get this land off the top of our deck. Make it uncounterable. These Delighted Halflings have been. Somehow they haven't died. Mana Dorks are still good when they live, which doesn't happen much, but in this matchup, they're living. We had like Halfling Town on turn 2 or something. All right, what does a Tally find? Like we're playing a standard deck. Spin into... Wow, Jason the One Ring? Okay. Okay, yes, those are hits. Not exactly Emrakul, but we will take Jace plus the One Ring. Totally worth the Itali. And that's an Ulamog on the top of our deck. My God. Oh, I was so enthralled by our spins. I didn't realize that our Drifter can become an Ulamog. That's really good. Oh, that was a great Itali. I guess we go to combat, see if our opponent has another Solitude. If not, that's game. Yes, we would like our Drifter to become an Ulamog. Do you have a Solitude? Oh, they do. Well, opponent is not dead yet. Good news is we now have a One Ring and we have a lot of life to work with. We're up to 40. Oh, these Solitudes. So good. Take up Jays. Look at the top of our opponent's deck. Land. You can keep that. That's fine. We could flip this a Tally too. All right, opponent plays the land, cracks it. Back down to 7. Opponent probably needs a One Ring, right? It's getting to that point where they're going to need a One Ring. Or I guess even more Solitudes. Opponent, all right, has a One Ring. Oh, so they're not dying this turn. Draws a card. Well, now the question is it worth it to breach Ulamog? I don't even know if it is. I mean, we still do a bunch of annihilating. Well, draw a card. There's the Ulamog. Untap. Take 1 all the way down to 39. This game. Draw a Triome. Well, let's draw with the One Ring. I mean, opponent's down to 7, so we can brainstorm Ulamog. We can also just bounce a Tally and do that again. That seems pretty sweet. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just Jace, pick up a Tally. We can't really attack anyway because of the One Ring, but we can steal from our opponent's deck. So basically, instant replay of last game. I mean, if we ever hit a Emrakul, the game pretty much ends. That's the one thing we haven't found. All right, what do we find with this Itali? Well, even more Italis in a Bolt. Well, Bolt a Solitude. Play another Itali. Yeah, Scalding Tarn. We gotta be getting close to being able to win this, right? We have to. We have both Italis on the battlefield in Modern. This deck is so ridiculous. Opponent drops to 6, 1 ring, draws a bunch of cards. There's also a world where we end up, after all of this insanity, that it's just like fire and ice your face that closes this game out. That is a possibility. What do you got, opponent? Teferi. Sure. Oh, bounce the 1 ring, do it again. Oh, bounces our 1 ring. Okay, yep. That's even better, isn't it? Opponent going to remain protected. Temple Garden untapped. 1 ring. Sure. Protection. Opponent's down to 4. And we get free cards with Itali if it doesn't die. Opponent draws. We're untapping with a bunch of Italis and a Jace. But not a Noble Hierarch. I guess we just cycle. Crack the fetch. Get the forest. Cycle away the Triome. Well, I guess we start with brainstorming. It's hard to go wrong with brainstorming. Oh, we can do Itali shenanigans, right? Okay, so we can put Emrakul on top, attack with Itali, get the Emrakul, get an extra turn, and then annihilate our opponent with both Eldrazi and just like wrap their entire board. That seems pretty sweet. Tap the Mana Dorks. Through the Breach. I mean, our opponent's not protected from... Put the Ulamog into play. Go to combat. Swing. Itali. Swing. Ulamog. Itali spins into Emrakul. Oh no. Oh no. Yes. So this Emrakul, we would really like to cast it. There's a problem. It's a moto bug. There's a moto bug that won't let us cast it. Editor, edit this part out, please. So there might be a Teferi on the battlefield. I was so excited about our cool line. The worst part about this is we could have just fire ice down the Teferi and this would have worked. I just got so excited about our cool Emrakul line that I didn't think about Teferi. And now I'm gonna get very yelled at in the comments. Editor. I mean, we still get to annihilate, right? We get to annihilate. We legend roller Jaces. I mean, the good news is, I think we still win this game. The bad news is, there are a few punts along the way. Just a few. Does it matter after that punt? Does it matter what we do? Let's brainstorm with Jace. Hey, another Emrakul. So we can just win now, right? Like, unless our opponent has a counter, we just wait till their turn and fire ice their face. See, all part of the plan. All part of the plan. We were really just playing towards this double fire ice kill. We had to get the Emrakul out of the way, so we would draw the second fire and ice. We were just deck thinning essentially the Emrakul. All right, opponent untaps. We'll wait until our opponent taps down, and then we can just fire ice them. If they don't tap down, then we double Itali them. Opponent, Hallowed Moonlight, Desperation Cycle. Well, apparently Vesuvan Drifter, good enough to overcome just a couple punts. A little Emrakul deck thinning, but sweet. I mean, so normally we want Mana Dork Drifter. Mana Dork into Jace seems fine though, right? And we're actually only 1 mana away from Itali. The old just cast your Itali and attack with a thing. That's classic modern gameplay right there. But we are not above trying to do that. Well, we're going to play a land, run out the Birds of Paradise. Jace does solve a lot of problems, like a quick Jace. Hopefully that can find us the Drifters or a Breach or something. It also, like, if we can find Breach and Breach Itali, we can set up the top of our deck with Jace and then sneak it into play. What are you up to? Forest and Grazer. This means we're getting Amulet Titaned. I don't know if our hand's gonna be fast enough to beat Amulet Titan. Drifter's our best draw. Like, I think in this matchup, we probably just need the Drifter nut draw. Maybe a Breach nut draw could do it. Okay, that's just a land. I guess we play Delighted Halfling and hope for the best. So next turn we can Jace, but none of this interacts with our opponent just going off. Like, I'm pretty sure we die the turn this Urza Saga sacrifices, because that can get the amulet. Mycosynth Garden, so 2 amulets. Well, unless our opponent's hand is just horrible, which if it's horrible, they shouldn't keep it. And expedition map. If they get a bounce land, I think that means we die. Okay, how can we win? That is the bounce land. So I guess if we draw Breach, we can Breach Italy and just like the Noblest Firearchs. Let's go Jace. Better than all, except for Amulet of Vigor. Whoa, what is up with that Jace? Jace looking a little wide over there. What is going on with this moto art? Sure. Well, there's Jace. We will brainstorm. The thing is, oh, Breach and a Tally. Oh, next turn would be so sweet. I don't think there's gonna be a next turn though. All right, yeah, we're just gonna shuffle stuff away. We got a Tally. Play the Hierarch. Like next turn, we can worse Breach a Tally and try to spin into something. We can also Jace to set it up. Is there a next turn though? I mean, I assume we're gonna see Amulet bounce land and then our opponent comboing for like 15 minutes. Amulet into Amulet, bounce land, and all right, nap time. Do you have prime time? Yes. And we will scoop it up. Okay, that is how Amulet does things. So, how can we beat Amulet? The answer is simple. We can race them. If we can get a fast Emrakul going, that will win. So we need to mulligan really aggressively for Mana Dork Vesuvan Drifter. That's our plan. We're not gonna like fairly beat this deck. It's gonna do its thing. We're not gonna stop its thing. We don't have Blood Moons. We don't have Land Hate. That's the game plan. So we're gonna mulligan until we find it or until we don't find it. And if we don't find it, then we probably wouldn't have won anyway. So that's the plan. That's the plan. Don't keep unless it's the Drifter, turn 2 Drifter draw. Hand 1. Not a turn 2 Drifter draw. Hand 2. Turn 3 Jace. I don't think that's good enough. That's a lot of lands. And Jace doesn't really do that much unless we have Drifter anyway, or like through the Breach or something. Going down to 5. Ugh, the hand's even worse. 5 lands Jace Emrakul going down to 4. Okay, 4 cards, but we did it. That's Delighted Halfling to play a Drifter on turn 2. What do we put to the bottom? Through the Breach. Stomping Grounds? All right. Well, either this plan works or it doesn't work, but we found it. We did have to mulligan a lot of times, but all right, Delighted Halfling, go. All right, Amulet, can you beat our mighty Vesuvan Drifter? Really, like, so now it's just up to the Magic Gods, really. It's up to the Magic Gods. Do we have something big on the top of our deck to annihilate our opponent? That we can't really control at the moment, but what we can control is mulliganing until we find it. Oh, really? I guess it's possible we die next turn. We're going to hold on to this fetch land because that is a way we can kind of control the top of our deck. Well, let's get drifting. Haywire Might. That is a good card because it can stop Amulet, but it is not going to let us win with Drifter. We really need an Eldrazi on the top of our deck this turn. We need an Eldrazi. Opponent untaps. Being able to exile the Amulet is something. Although our opponent technically has 2 amulets because of Urza Saga, so it's not actually just GG. With an amulet on the battlefield, is it possible we die here? Our opponent would probably have to have so how could we die? Azusa. It would have to start with Azusa. Bounce land Azusa, double bounce land. Arboreal Grazer, maybe? Nah, it's unlikely we die here, but not impossible. If they have Azusa, then technically possible. So opponent bounce land picks it up, and... Okay, so they do have Azusa. Wait, no, we're not gonna die on turn 2. That would be so... At least let us see the top of our deck to see if Drifter was gonna do something. Let us live that long. I mean, turn 2 kills don't happen with Amulet that often. Next turn, Okay, so opponent's not even, they're not even gonna go for it. Definitely in trouble next turn though. They're gonna have triple Amulet, triple. All right, come on, top of our deck. Let's see the Emrakul. Opponent passes. Forest on top, that is not gonna do it. Can this be the greatest fetch land in the history of Magic? It's so funny that this fetch land is gonna determine whether we win or lose the game. This shuffle of the library is essentially going to determine everything. Let's play the Haywire Might to see if our opponent reacts. They might want to copy the amulet. Okay, they don't. Last card, Scalding Tarn. Shuffle it up. What do we got on top, Magic Gods? What do we got on top? Grab whatever. Yes! Magic Gods come through, and that is a flawless victory on the Moldifor on turn 3. With Vesuvan Drifter of all things. Wow. Well, I will say our fetch land luck has been really good so far with this deck. There's only four Emeralds. Our odds of, so that we do have a lot of big things. Like Emerald's good, Ulamog's good. The tallies are fine, but not necessarily good enough. Either Eldrazi. So we had 8 Eldrazi in our deck that would essentially win us the game here. But we still have 53 cards in our deck. That's a lot. That's a huge number of cards in our deck. So the odds of us shuffling into Eldrazi, not great, but we will not complain. And yeah, well, that's how you beat Amulet Titan. You just get super lucky with Vesuvan Drifter. We should have attacked with Delighted Halfling, right? I was so excited that we spun into Emrakul. I forgot that this actually isn't lethal. We put our opponent to 5. If we had attacked with the Delighted Halfling, our opponent would be a 4, and then we'd have lethal next turn. I mean, in all honesty, it's unlikely to matter because we just kind of made our opponent sack their entire board. But yeah, that's right. Our opponent didn't crack any fetches, didn't do any shocking, so they actually just survived the first Emrakul hit. Opponent plays a tap land. One more. How greedy are we? You know what? Let's flex and turn this back into an Emrakul. Not that it does anything. Boom. Still an Emrakul opponent. What do you think about that? Wait, did they scoop to the flex? We were going to draw the Emrakul, so it wouldn't be an Emrakul during our turn, but I mean, honestly, they probably didn't. It probably didn't matter. I think they probably were just dead in a whole bunch of different ways. We found out how we can beat them. Let's just do that again. Turn mulligan until we find the Drifter draw and get lucky. Oh, Drifter, but not until turn 3, and we're on the draw. Odds are we will already be facing down a hasty Primeval Titan by the time we play this Drifter, which I guess means we got a mulligan. Like, it's just, in this matchup, there's no way it's fast enough, right? I mean, I guess they could have a really bad hand, but I feel like, so we play it on turn 3, and then on turn 4, we Jace and try to set it up. I'm not sure we'll be alive at that point. I'm not convinced. Okay, this hand is definitely not going to do it. I do like the Haywire Might, but everything else about this hand is stone unplayable. I mean, last time, we went to 4 and it works, so maybe that's the secret. You got to start with the 4-card hand. We found the hand. That's a Mana Dork and a Drifter. Do we put both big things to the bottom? We don't have a fetch to shuffle them in, but yeah. Opponent, Slayer's Stronghold. No Amulet. That's good. Well, okay, there's a fetch. We don't really want to draw more lands, but being able to shuffle the Emrakul and Italia back in for this Drifter is actually relevant. The one nice thing about Amulet is they don't really play much removal, so the odds of them killing our Drifter are not very high. Also good that they didn't actually have an Amulet for once. Oh. Did they just draw that? They always have an Amulet. Oh, Emrakul, couldn't you have stayed in the deck for one more turn? Well, all right, play the Drifter. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate that we drew the Emrakul. We threw the Breach. Okay, that's a backup plan. Oh no, they actually have removal. Ooh. All right, now I guess we gotta hope we live 2 more turns and Breach and Emrakul. We could be dead as soon as, oh god, double Amulet? Okay, we could be dead. Oh, we're probably dead next turn, aren't we? All right, 2 Amulets. We know we're drawing Breach, so okay, I mean, this is it. Can our opponent, they don't have that many cards in hand. If we survive, we win next turn. Double Amulet, though, there are a lot of ways we just die with our opponent having 2 Amulets. Hold Birds of Pair. Oh, 3. I take it back. 3 Amulets. So now a single bounce land makes Primeval Titan mana. That's not good. Well, there's a single bounce land. Do they have the payoff? Like, once we see the prime time, I think we are safe to scoop here. Opponent's also conveniently at 16. So even if we get an Emrakul attack, our opponent goes to 1 and then can kill us on the backswing. There's a prime time. Like, we gotta be dead, right? So they can get with 3 Amulets, they can just pick up the Teleria West, get another prime time, yeah, we're definitely dead. Super, super dead. All right. Well, game two. Game two was really good, but Amulet's also a pretty good deck. This, I mean, we will take this is literally the nut draw. Mana Dork, Drifter, Jace. That is our best possible hand. We want that every time. I guess if we want to quibble, like, Delighted Halfling is the best Mana Dork, but still, opponent's on Kahira, so they're probably blue-white control. This should be interesting. I kind of feel like control might be a tough matchup. We'll see. Maybe we're just fast enough, though. How are they going to stop this Drift? I guess Solitude, but, I mean, we get to slam Drifter. Hope we get lucky. We even have possibly Jace for the setup. Opponent, gonna crack the Flooded Strand. No one plays Island, okay. Oh. Apparently there is a 1-mana counter spell for Drifter now. Spell Pierce for creatures. Well, our opponent better not have literal Spell Pierce too, because if they're gonna counter our Drifter, wow, all the Jaces. If we're gonna play against control, drawing all the Jaces is probably good. Let's play a Jace. Please no Forced Negation. Okay, Jace down. We're just going to brainstorm it up. I'll put back the Triumph for sure. I guess Triumph a Tally. Then we draw a Tally, and then we got some options. We have the Through the Breach, and if our noblest of hierarchs live, we also have the mana for it. Plus, our opponent's going to feel pretty pressured by this Jace, so they probably have to... Okay, opponent's going to Leyline Binding the Jace. Now what? So we can breach, but we're breaching a Tally? And a Tally's not, I mean, it's sweet, but it doesn't literally end the game. Plus our opponent's a control deck, so what's a Tally gonna spin into? Like if we get lucky, maybe a Teferi, but probably decent odds we spin into like a random counter spell. I think we actually just play another Jace. We have the fetch land too, so we can Jace Brainstorm. We would rather find an Eldrazi. All right, there's an Eldrazi. So we definitely put the Triumph to the bottom. Kind of awkward since we're a Drifter deck, but I think this is the right choice because now we can play Delighted Halfling, and now we're pressuring our opponent in a bunch of different ways. So we have the option to breach something next turn. We can also just find a land and just hard cast a Tally, which is way better than breaching it since it sticks around, and Delighted Halfling makes it uncounterable. So we're kind of like a ramp deck now. Hardcasting a Tally was not something I expected us. Wow, another breach. Well, let's brainstorm. We do need to hit a land. Okay, there's a land. Put back birds. Oh, we can set it up. Okay, put the Ulamog on top. Oh, this is so good. So put back the birds, which we don't care about. Put the Ulamog as the top card of our library. And now we can play the land untapped. Play an uncounterable Tally. We know it's going to hit the Ulamog, and then maybe something from our opponent's deck. Okay, maybe we can beat control. Delighted Halfling really changes the equation. Like having uncounterability is so big here. Right, a Tally, resolve, spin it to win it. Opponent, March of Otherworldly Light, not especially helpful, but that's fine because wow, an opponent scoops it. I mean, I guess turn 5, a Tally plus Ulamog plus Jace. Little much for the control deck to handle. Well, now we will trim the unexpected results. Trim in a Tally, trim a Mana Dork, bring in the Veil of Summers. Opponent leads on the fetch land. This hand, mostly a Veil of Summer hand. Not great, but Veil of Summer seems very... Maybe Stern Scolding is better than I thought. It is kind of getting us. Opponent with the Triome. I feel like Veil of Summer is worth keeping for, but without the Mana Dork, this hand's kind of slow. Like next turn we can play Drifter, but we're not going to be able to make it uncounterable anyway. Opponent with the tap land. Do we even play the Drifter? I mean, we probably have to, right? Well, if we draw Delighted Halfling, that might actually be better. Halfling means next turn we have uncounterable Jace or uncounterable Vesuvan Drifter, or we could draw land and Through the Breach is also possible. All right, opponent. Well, let's see if our opponent leaves up mana. The other thing about Through the Breach is we can play it at instant speed. Our opponent's end step is a good time for it. Land? Well, in that case, I think we just do a little drifting. Try to set up for next turn. Another Through the Breach on top. Little breach flooded. Although breach is really good against control because it's an instant. So the trick is if you're breaching instant speed, you want to do it on your opponent's end step because then the creature sticks around until your end step and you get to attack. Opponent plays a land. Supreme Verdict, sure. Well, we can't do anything for drawing breach next turn. I think we kept this hand for Veil of Summer. Now we're cycling it for literally, Emrakul on top. Well, this turn we do nothing. Don't even have double blue for Jace. Although this hand is, once we get one more land, this hand's kind of explosive. Opponent. Wow, just getting Kahira. Okay, we can deal with that. We can deal with that. If that is your turn, we are fine with that. And there's a land. Well, play the fetch land past the turn. So I think our plan is breach on our opponent's end step. They can counter it. Untap breach during our turn and hope that they can't actually counter all of them. All right, show us that Kahira, opponent. Show us your mighty Kahira to stop our Eldrazi. All right, Kahira. Control is in such a bad place in Modern. Control is just, if it's losing to us, if it's losing to our Vesuvan Drifter deck, it's gotta be a bad time for Control. All right, we will grab we need a blue source just in case. Yeah, get the breeding pool. Well, do a little breaching. See if our opponent counters. Breach number 1. Do you have a counter? While they don't. So Solitude and Leyline Binding do answer Emrakul. If our opponent had a counter, they would have cast it. So I think we actually just put a tally into play. We put a tally into play and then we can breach again during our turn and have 2 threats. Plus, who knows what this Atali is going to hit. But yeah, let's Atali. Spin it to win it, spin it to win it. Oh, breach we don't need, but Teferi guarantees it. Well, okay. Now we know our opponent can't. I mean, assuming this resolves, we know they can't stop breach Emrakul and our opponent's at 15. So, yeah, Kahira Companion's busted, but not as strong as Vesuvan Drifter, apparently. Or actually Emrakul, I guess. Well, how about another breach? How about another breach, opponent? How about a little Emrakul to the face? And GG. Well, that's power the backup plan through the breach. Not bad. Not bad at all. Yeah, this hand is much better. One thing I've learned about this deck, I've jammed quite a few games with it now. You gotta mulligan super aggressively. Like, if you pick up this deck and don't mulligan aggressively, it's not gonna work. You really want to mulligan for Mana Dork, Drifter. That's the primary plan. Mana Dork, Drifter. Jace is a bonus. Oh boy, burn. Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be tricky. Burn on the play. Let's see how we do against aggro. Let's play birds. I guess it doesn't really matter what Mana Dork we play. But yeah, keep that in mind. If you do decide you want to meme around with some Vesuvan Drifter action, definitely mulligan for the fast. Modern's fast right now. Modern's very fast. It's kind of like if you listen to the Goldfish podcast, maybe 2 weeks ago now, when we were talking about the Pro Tour results, I really truly believe that Modern, you can do a lot of it. I mean, we're proving it right now. We're playing Vesuvan Drifter and it's kind of working, but I really believe that Modern, you can do a lot of different stuff. If your deck has a legitimate nut drawish style plan for winning the game on turn 3 or turn 4, which we do. Like, we can just high roll into Emrakul and get you. So assuming your deck can do something like that, you can do all kinds of different things in Modern. As we saw last match, though, what you don't want to be doing is trying to be the reactive control player, because there's just too many threats to deal with, too many diverse threats. You just can't build a deck that deals with all of them, and the format's too fast and too powerful. We're gonna take it. I don't know if that was correct or not. Like, is it worth chump blocking here? Skewers our face. I guess it really probably doesn't matter. If they just have a handful of bolts, untap land. The upside of keeping the hierarch is, like, in theory, we could draw a breach and breach next turn, but, well, get down the Drifter, but we're probably just going to be too slow. Burn on the play seems tough. But still, like, even that, like, that's the power of having these nut draw decks, like we've been talking about. Yeah, Burn on the Play is going to be a tough matchup. Yeah, they're probably going to be able to beat us most of the time, but there's always a chance. Even now, like, assuming our opponent doesn't just go bolt, 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 you're dead, like, we could just untap, have Emrakul on the top of our deck, and win the game. We've played 2 mana dorks. We haven't been able to interact with our opponent at all. And we still have some not that tiny percent chance of just winning this game. That's the power of playing these nut draw style decks in Modern. Opponent finishes reading our Drifter. Scalding Tarn on top. Well, if we're gonna have a land on top, a fetch land is what we want. Basically, we need to live, which might not happen. Oh, Helix. Okay, yeah, we're probably dead. We don't take Goblin Guide damage, but... Oh, okay, down to 1. All right, yep, that looks like a bolt. Yeah. Fair enough. Well, we will never know. What is our plan for burn? We don't really have life gain. I guess Haywire might kind of is life gain, but not really. I think Spellskite's our main plan. Spellskite, pay a blue, redirect a bolt to it. That's kind of life gain, right? Bring in a bit of removal. Really, though, I think Drifter does have 4 toughness, which is nice. That makes it pretty resilient against a lot of burn threats. Plus, Spellskite can protect it. So I think the plan is what the plan is, which is try to do the Vesuvan Drifter thing fast enough that we can actually win the game. All right, we are on the play, which is actually kind of big. Oh, God. Well, not keeping that one. We have Spellskite. Is that enough? Is Spellskite enough to just beat burn on its own? I think we're going to try. This might be incorrect, but I feel like Spellskite might be good enough. Plus, we have the Jace, and Spellskite can defend the Jace. We're going to try it. We will see. Opponent, land, and Rift Bolt suspended. Let's grab a Triome. So we can get down Spellskite. And then I guess we're just hoping Jace finds us something. And let's run out the mountain. And, well, let's see. Is Spellskite GG against burn? We're hoping so. I don't think we're redirecting this Rift Bolt. So we could redirect the Rift Bolt. We'd have to spend 2 life. So we're saving 1 life. And that would mean our Spellskite would die to any one burn spell. Normally 4 toughness is a good number against burn. All right, skewers a Spellskite. And they must... Okay, bolts it. Well, I guess Spellskite kind of did its job, right? It ate 2 lightning bolts, so essentially it was 2 mana gain 6. Oh, I wish we had drawn some action. So essentially it was 2 mana gain 6 life, and make our opponent spend 2 mana. That's still pretty good. I don't know if it's gonna win us the game, but totally worth it, I think. Opponent, untap land, and so many bolts. Lava spikes us. Oh, we are drawing a lot of Magic the Gathering land cards here. So I guess we really got to find Through the Breach is probably our most realistic pathway to winning this game. No, poor host. Are we just dead next turn? If they spend 2 bolts, all right, you can keep the land. If they spend 2 bolts on a Spellskite and still just kill us on turn 4, that would be ridiculous. That would be ridiculous. Opponent, Skullcrack down to 6. Pulled down to 3. Last card's a land. All right. So many lands. There's not much point in ticking up the Jace because our opponent has a fetch. Oh, that's not a breach or an Emrakul. Well, put back 2 lands. We have kind of flooded out this game. Well, play the Hierarch. Play the Birds of Paradise. I guess this lets us hardcast a Tally next turn. So we need to that's assuming our opponent doesn't draw a burn spell. All right, that's not a burn spell, but it is a redraw. Come on, whiff. We can block creatures. All right, it looks like we're gonna get a turn. Is our opponent playing around a counter? I guess we can upkeep crack our fetch land to just bluff. We get to Jace Brainstorm. Breach Emrakul would be really good. That would win us the game. Ulamog. I mean, Breach Ulamog also... Assuming your opponent's not slow rolling a bolt would also win us the game, right? Worst case, I guess we Brainstorm, put Ulamog on top and get it off of a Tally, and then hope our opponent whiffs for 1 more turn. Now, Brainstorm, bunch of mana dorks. We want Ulamog on top. Is Ulamog enough to win us the game? Or do we have to try to high roll into Emrakul? I guess we just take the Ulamog. Emrakul would actually not give our opponent another draw step, but the odds of finding it's so low. So I think we just have to play the Tally. We know we'll hit the Ulamog. Is Ulamog enough? Wow, okay, so they had Searing Blaze on top. That would have been lethal. Yeah, I mean, doesn't really matter. I guess we... I guess we can just force him to crack the fetch. I mean, it really, all it is do you top deck a burn spell this turn? I think odds probably favor it slightly. But, I mean, we managed to assemble lethal, so if they don't top deck it this turn, we do end up winning the game. Well, play the fetch, pass the turn. Magic gods, please, 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 vote it. Lightning bolt. All right, well, yeah, burn seems like a tricky matchup. Good news is, though, this does mean we finished the league with a winning record. We went 3-2. We went 3-2 in a league with Vesuvan Drifter, so we get to crack a treasure chest. Yeah, burn feels tough. Well, all right. Sometimes it only takes one. Sometimes it only takes one chest. What do we get? Oh, God. Daneth Ruins, Chandra Flamewave. That's a Planeswalker deck card. All right. Well, chest not great, but deck was pretty sweet. I'll give it that. I'll be right back with the wrap up. So what did we learn this week about Vesuvan Drifter in Modern? So overall, we did a Modern League, went 3-2, cracked our treasure chest. It was horrible. Also played a couple of 1v1 matches, went 1-1 in those. So overall, we went 4-3 with the deck, which is actually not a bad record. It turns out, if you listen to the MTG Goldfish podcast a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how you can kind of do whatever you want in Modern, as long as you have some sort of nut draw that can just get you a free win on turn 3 or turn 4. It turns out that that includes Vesuvan Drifter. Like you saw during our games, we mulliganed super aggressively for Drifter. We actually won some games on the Molda 4. I don't think we won on a Molda 3, but we won on some Molda 4s where our hand would be like land, Drifter, mana dork, and that was enough that you just like hope the Emrakul's on top of your deck and you win. So this deck does actually kind of work with the play pattern of Modern. We also saw just some ridiculous games, especially the Omnath One Ring deck. That was one of the most absurd matches of Modern I have played in a really long time. It was so back and forth, stuff flying everywhere, getting stolen, maybe a couple puns along the way as well. But the deck, I mean, it looks like an ultra meme, and it kind of is an ultra meme. I mean, we're playing every Itali in existence in Modern, of all places. That's just not something you see. But it's a meme that actually kind of works and can win some games. I will say, there is some inconsistency. There are times when we just never find the big thing. There's also times when all of our mana dorks die and our deck just does nothing. So there is good to go with the bad, or bad to go with the good. But overall, the deck's hilarious. We got some ridiculous wins, and it actually ended up somehow posting a winning record. So anyway, that's Vesuvan Drifter. That's our Against the Odds for this week. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Want even more Magic? Well, make sure to check out the video where we played some Flumph in Modern, or maybe the one about the fastest bannings in the history of the game.